And we are live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the MrShowTym showcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I have never been so fired up seeing some of our red pill manosphere brethren doing the right things, including those who are in the mainstream media limelight. I'm talking about Ice Cube, going to different shows, different podcasts, spilling the beans on how the Agent Smiths of this matrix operate. You know who we're talking about? We're talking about the Agent Smiths, the Jewish oligarchy. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, this is right. This is brilliant. This is fire. This is it, baby. Right? I am so fired. I am so hyped up just seeing you guys making all the right moves, coming out and be brave. Shout out to Elon Musk reinstating Kanye West's Ye's Twitter account. Now, I know that they made like a personal deal that if Kanye will no longer make some anti-Semitic posts on Twitter, he would be allowed back. That's kind of that's a bit of a downer, considering. Oh, and another thing, I'm MrShowTym. I have proof that I am a formidable player in this space, the red pill manosphere, because I contributed in Kanye West's Twitter account being reinstated. I made a tweet, right? You can check out the previous show I did. I made a tweet calling out Twitter and say, hey, listen, if Twitter is pro-free speech as they claim, why are they letting back certain people without letting back Kanye West and including Nick Fuentes? Kanye West was recently unbanned on Twitter. Now there's one more person I'm advocating for, I'm pleading for, and that's Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes comes back, it is all systems go. We're standing face to face with the Agent Smiths. But we'll see as time goes by, right? Because I know Elon Musk runs Twitter and he has to adhere to advertisers. No, we have to push forward at this point. All systems go. And I, MrShowTym, I'm an established player in the space. I have been featured by one of the founding fathers of the Red Pill Manosphere, and his name is Mumia Obsidian Ali. Last year, somewhere around August, right, somewhere around this time, Mumia Obsidian, we had a conversation over email, and he saw something in me. He saw some potential. So much so that he dedicated a show specifically for me. And I delivered, he was pleased, and I am grateful. And recently, we have more to talk about. I have more to talk about. And I saw Adam Sosnick. He took a very huge so-called risk in platforming and hosting Nick Fuentes over at the Valuetainment show. Shout out to you, Adam Sosnick. It's ironic you platforming someone who's been called an anti-Semite, when you yourself are, of the, Agent Smith. You're Jewish yourself. But hey, listen, we appreciate you. We are not against the average citizen who happens to be a Jew. Absolutely not. If you're watching this, Kanye West, Nick Fuentes, MrShowTym, we're not speaking out against every single person on the planet who happens to be a Jew. No, we're talking about the Jewish oligarchy, the people who are pulling the strings. Ice Cube calls them the gatekeepers. MrShowTym likes to call them the Agent Smiths of this matrix. Right? So kudos to you, Adam Sosnick. I have been posting, tagging you in in a lot of my Instagram posts because I want you to see my content. I want to get your attention. I want you to at least like one of my posts on Instagram, just for you to acknowledge that, okay, MrShowTym, I saw you, right? So yeah, hey, as a person, listen, I like the Valuetainment studio setup. You've got a lovely studio setup, and hopefully, maybe one day, you know, MrShowTym can fly over to, you know, Florida, and get featured on the Valuetainment podcast. Maybe not, right? Speaking of featuring and hosting certain people, Joe Rogan. This is the ultimate interview you could ever do. Patrick Bet-Davis. You recently did a show with PBD, Patrick Bet-Davis. And you guys talked about how, you know, some of us have been questioning very heavily, why haven't you interviewed former and future President of the United States, Donald J. Trump? Why haven't you hosted and interviewed Donald Trump, Joe? I saw over on the internet that you have somewhat of a personal gripe against Donald Trump. You calling him a overgrown baby. Well, let's look at a few things. During the last UFC fight in Vegas or in Nashville, Donald Trump, you know, made his appearance over at the UFC 2029. I can't remember, in Nashville or in Las Vegas, and he walked over straight to you, Joe, and he shook your hand. That's manly behavior. It takes a man to walk up to another man who's been insulting him because he doesn't like you don't like his politics. Trump was man enough to walk over to you and shake your hand and say, "Hi, how you doing?" This is alpha male behavior. Between you and Trump, I ask you again, between you and Trump, who's really acting like the man baby, Joe? Who, Joe? Now, personal gripes aside, Joe, understand this. You, Joe, are running the biggest, the most successful YouTube podcast of all time. And you'll probably be remembered for the next 20 years as the most successful podcast of all time. Here's a caveat. However, plenty of people, considering today's political climate, politics is at its prime. You, Joe, are at your prime. You can take you will take your podcast and ride off into the sunset. But guess what else will follow? Because people have been asking the biggest what if of all time. What if Joe Rogan hosted and interviewed Donald Trump? What if? Patrick Bet-Davis said it best. If you don't interview Trump, and we're not forcing you, we can't force you, it's your show. But we're just throwing certain things out there. You don't platform Trump on your show. You don't host Trump on your show. You are actually helping the establishment. Now, Joe, last time I checked, you were supposedly in the middle, right? Equalitarian, equal rights for all. You are, everyone deserves equalness. You've platformed pretty much everyone, including, what's his name? Andrew Yang? There would be no Andrew Yang without you, Joe. You have platformed everyone on the left and ignoring everyone on the right. Does that sound like someone who's in the middle? Or someone whose political bias is tilted towards one side? Of course, Joe. Please don't take this as disrespect. We're not forcing you to host Donald Trump. We can't, it's your show. But we also have as much right to give you the greatest what if that will go hand in hand with your podcast if you never interview Trump. Your podcast, your show, your credibility will forever be stuck with the greatest what if question of all time. What if Joe Rogan interviewed Donald Trump? Do you want that, Joe? Do you want that on your conscience? Something tells me that you don't. Something tells me that, Joe, deep inside, you will thank yourself later if you were to interview former president and future president Donald Trump. And a lot of people would appreciate you that much more, Joe, because you would have played a role in saving America. Right now, you're very either or. You have been red-pilled in some instance. I've heard you utter the phrase, "Oh, just vote Republican," which tells me that little by little, you're getting doses of the red pill. Why? Because the truth is on our side. The red pill, aka the truth, is inevitable. Why not solidify that, Joe, by hosting and platforming former President Donald Trump? You can push back as much as you want, Joe. You can ask him any question. It's your show. You're in control. But the people are desperately craving for fairness. Fairness from the right. Just fairness. By platforming Donald Trump. And let us see what pans out. 13 million of your people, of your subscribers, are itching for it. The crowd will eat it up. Think Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier. Think Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. The rumbles in the jungle. Think, what if those pay-per-views never happened? What if that same prestige, that same matchup, Joe Rogan interviews Donald Trump, never happens? It would be a damn shame. It would be such a disservice to the American public, to the American citizens. Because trust and believe, even I, as a South African, who is of a first world nation, we understand this. We see what's going on. MrShowTym understands what's going on. A lot of people understand that this show needs to happen. This interview, Joe, needs to happen. Put your feelings aside. If you really want to solidify your greatest podcast of all time, then give the people what they want, Joe. This is what the people want. Joe Rogan interviews Donald Trump. Put in parentheses, or as we call it in South Africa, brackets. Put in parentheses, finally. That show will blow up. Now you've been asking, oh, why don't other people platform him? Because Joe, no other podcast comes before yours. It has to go through you first, Joe. Before PBD can interview Trump, before whoever can interview Trump, has to go through you first, Joe. Trump has to be interviewed by you first.